What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm here today with Travis Mangone. And Travis, we're back on track today. It's a 3-game slate, and you know what that means. We can take our detours. We can start debating random stuff, and we can get into a little more, roster construction and overall game theory. I'll tell you what, man, the content's been fire. Yesterday, I watched some of the shows. I didn't get to see them all. I missed Up to Lock. I saw some of the Hardwood show. And of course, we discussed it on this show. But I grabbed the cores, 2 lineups that cashed, right? I mean, it was great. The only bad thing was I didn't have Donovan Mitchell and Clay in the same one. But both lineups cashed. And that just makes watching the NBA so much more fun. Wasn't the best night for the NBA playbook. It was our first losing day in almost 10 days. And even that, we kind of ran pure. Because we had the Cavs and the Warriors, and it could have been a disastrous night. But those guys came home for us. So definitely look forward to talking some NBA with you here today. How did you do on the slate last night, and what are your overall thoughts on how the association is right now?
Yeah, I barely missed cashing without Mitchell or Klay Thompson, so that was annoying. Definitely had a good team, but, I mean, on most nights that team cashes. So what can you do? It just happens. So overall, though, slate was – I didn't have Mitchell or Clay, so, what am I going to do? There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So you just move on to the next slate, call it a day. Yeah, some people could cash without him, but it was hard, too. It was not going to be an easy task to cash without them. So and the tilting part about it is if you did have a team like that, you only kind of, min cash, basically, probably, and, I don't know, on, normal slates, you probably would have crushed. So that's, the tilting part. If you did have that because you feel like you made a really great team. But, yeah, overall – 3-game slate. We can get off the board, off the beaten path spread, which is always something you and I like to do, which should be fun. I believe, and I haven't looked too much at this slate. I believe we can't have the Russell Westbrook slander tonight because I don't think he's there. But we'll find ways to make.
I think we can work it in somehow.
Yeah, we'll work it in for the people. I know we, the people, is definitely gonna want to hear that for sure.
Yeah, and I see him in there, and we have to give him props because he gave out Timberwolves money line there. Yesterday on the show, and they got it done. They got their first win with Rudy Gobert in the lineup since December. And
I was going to bet against the Timberwolves, but then my buddy was like, he's like a big Timberwolves, the biggest Timberwolves fan ever. Imagine spread. You have to take a 5-hour trip the day that Rudy Gobert gets traded to the Timberwolves, and the whole car ride you have to hear from him. Oh, they're winning the title. This is the best team ever. And I'm sitting there saying you're the biggest donkey. And now I'm sitting here in January. And I just making fun of him over and over, and I just feel bad. I tried to tell him in July, but he said they had a players' meeting though.
Let me just point out. Last year at this time, we were breaking up the Boston Celtics.
That's fair. I agree.
It's still early.
I don't care. I'm here to tell you, spread. We don't care. The Timberwolves are just not it. They're not it. We'll see what happens. But they did have that players-only meeting, second night of a back-to-back too for the Nuggets.
I think that's really was key.
Coming from Denver to Minnesota, I could see the letdown. That's all.
It's a big win for the Nuggets too, right? I mean, what matters to you more, beating the Celtics or beating the Timberwolves? Right?
Oh, yeah. It was an easy letdown spot, in my opinion. So that's why I didn't touch it. But if Gobert is in anytime soon, spread, I am interested in betting against the Timberwolves.
All right, and the prop master is here, Tyler. What place do you think the Timberwolves are going to finish in at the end of the season? Do you think that they'll end up getting a play-in spot? Will they get an actual playoff spot, or is this team in trouble? What do you think, Tyler?
I think they're going to finish in about 10th in the play-in game. That's my guess. I think they'll be in the play-in somewhere. I don't think they get a solid playoff spot. They're not going to be a top 6 seed.
All right. Well, we'll be talking about some teams that are fighting with the play-in spot. Tyler, your overall thoughts on the association last night? Rough night for the RPB tags. I knew we had too many short home favorites. And I was telling Travis, we ran pure to get a couple of those home with the Cavs and the Warriors. It could have been a disaster. Pacers were solid. Clippers, the Clippers made a push. I really thought they were going to win that there in the third quarter. Give credit to Miami for pulling that through. And then, of course, that Warriors under, man. I mean, what a disaster. So,
yeah, I mean, OT didn't help us, but we were dead before OT. But, I mean, some of those stat lines in the NBA last night were ridiculous. Mitchell had a good one. Embiid had, 45 and 11, shot 60%. LeBron had a great night. And there was a couple other guys. I mean, there's just so many to name from last night. There had to be a couple guys that scored, 60-plus fantasy points, Mangone, 70. I know Mitchell hit 100.
Yeah, it was not my favorite night in the association. I did not have those guys that just dropped absolute bombs. But to be fair, when I had Luca the other day, that was fun. The 110-point fantasy game was a great time when I was on that side. So, yeah, nothing you can just do about it. It just happens, and you just got to move on. I felt like I made really good teams yesterday, so I just got to kind of move on. And, we got a 3-game slate today, and I feel like I've done pretty good on the 3-game slates that I've been on Tuesdays with you guys. So hoping to kind of rekindle some of that magic, because I've kind of played some like 10 gamers with you guys, and we've kind of been, holidays messed some stuff up, but we're back with the 3-game slates, and it's a 1 hour later lock time as well. And there's not going to be a lot of news like throughout the night. It's not like, there's like a 10:30 game. You make adjustments. It's all just going to kind of be at once, except there's like an hour delay between the one game. So we should have most of the news on time.
Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to breaking it down. And to me, Travis, these 3-game slates are my favorite because it kind of gives you the showdown aspect where there's a game theory, but it's not just like one game where you kind of get trapped into certain plays. So I'm loving it. Let's dive right in. The first game we have on the docket is the Washington Wizards plus 7.5 in Milwaukee taking on the Bucks. Total here of 230. But Travis, you said that we don't have any news, but pretty, hey, these guys are probable, but these are big names. Giannis probable, George Hill, whatever. Drew Holiday probable. On the other side, Bradley Beal and Taj Gibson are questionable. Obviously, Taj Gibson doesn't matter too much, but Giannis, Holiday, and Beal all on the injury report. That can, pretty much change the way the whole slate works. Let's start with you, Travis. Talk to us about the DFS perspective, and then Tyler and I will break it down from a betting perspective.
Yeah, I assume Giannis and Drew are playing. They are probable. Also, they just got like absolutely waxed by Washington recently. So I'm sure they're going to be like, okay, we don't want to do this again and run whatever situation they ran out last time. It wasn't the prettiest scenario. And I hope we don't. I'm not a big fan of slates where it's like, here's all these free squares. Right. I don't like those slates. I think yes, there is some value in finding those fades. That could be the bad chalk. And if I can find that bad chalk, I guess I like those slates, but I don't know. I just don't love those slates. I like when you stare at the slate and you're like, wow, there's like 4 OKC guys in the lineup. That looks stupid. And then people are just playing that, and I can just make a different change in another spot. So those are kind of the slates that I prefer, not these ones where it's like, okay, we got to slam in Bobby Portis chalk night. Like I don't want to do that. So I want to have enough spots where I can find ways to be different. And so far, when I look at this slate, I kind of think that you got to consider, like, Giannis obviously is one of the premier spends on these slates. Sometimes raw points just matter. And he is 12.1K. The next biggest stud is Tatum at 10.7, Sabonis at 10.5, who we'll definitely talk about. And then SGA at 10.3. And then there's a drop off the Porzingis at 9.5. And obviously, if Beal is in, that makes him not as appealing. So I think we are going to want to talk about these studs at the top, but we will need value to kind of play someone like Giannis, right? Because if Giannis goes for 60, that's not enough. But if he goes for 80, then you're just going to need him. But 60, it could be enough as long as the value gets there. That's what I should be mentioning. I didn't kind of call that out. 60 could be enough, but 60, you need those value plays to get there. You can't sit there with 60 and then like one of your guys has like 7 DraftKings points, right? Like that could absolutely destroy you. So having value is key when you are spending for someone like Giannis. That's why, those builds with all those spend ups have been making a lot of sense recently, because we have all this value to work with. The question is, will we have value to work with today? I don't know. That's the one thing I'm kind of debating, because obviously if Bradley Beal's out, that'll open up some value there. If Herter and Monk miss, that would really open up some value on Sacramento to help make things work. I know Robert Williams is questionable. I don't think that's going to open up that much where you're just going to be jamming in Celtics or anything like that. But overall, Giannis is definitely going to be a good spend on this slate. If you have those guys in, though, are you interested in Drew Holiday? At 8-1, yeah, it's fine. These other guys, though, they're priced up. Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, even Javon Carter at 4.9. Am I dying to get there? Not really. Grayson Allen at 4.6 is okay. I mean, he has been shooting a lot better, but he's very up and down. So I don't think I'm dying to get there. And these Bucks are not going to be like primary spends for me. Maybe Giannis is a guy that I look at, but that's kind of it right now. If you look at the Washington situation, Bradley Beal is a super important piece of information because he's 8K. And if he's in, I think you could take a chance on him. He certainly could get there. But if he's out, which is the key thing, then you're going to see Kyle Kuzma 8.4, Porzingis 9.4. These guys are naturally just going to be really good plays. And then we have to look at the starting lineup and then see who's going to be the other options. Like Rui is someone at 4-5 that if Bradley Beal missed, I think Rui would be an extreme value that you'd want to look at. And I think he might even be a value on this slate with Bradley Beal in. He's been playing a lot better. Fantasy point per minute kind of producer, a guy that just like produces a ton of fantasy points. And I do think him coming off the bench, he could play really well. Could be a guy that you want to consider. Has back-to-back 38 and 40 point. Sorry, it's not back-to-back. It's best out of 2 out of 3. It's 38.5, 25.25, 40.25. That's playing 28 minutes or more in all those games. I know Beal has missed some of them, but I do think either way he is in play for the upside that he has. It's only a 3-game slate, and the dude is 4.5K. So even if Beal's in, I think you will consider him here on this slate. So overall, we need the news. That's going to be important. If I had to pick between Porzingis and Kuzma, my lean is Kuzma. If I have to pick one, that just would be the guy that I go to if we have the news that Beal is out. So my lean would be Kuzma 1 and then Porzingis number 2. And I might even put Rui over Porzingis. Like if we're just talking value-wise. And Rui could even leap Kuzma just because you might want to spend in other spots. We'll talk about it. I think there's a couple spend-up spots that I want to discuss later on. But Giannis definitely going to be a spend if we have enough value plays on the slate. That's going to be the key for him.
You're on mute.
Tyler, from a betting perspective, the Milwaukee Bucks are minus 7.5 here. The total is 230.5. I think this line has actually gone down a point. Let me pull this up. Yeah, it was 8.5 when I did it earlier. That actual move gives me a slight edge to the Bucks here. And really, I got this game really close to the total. Slight edge to the under, but we don't like playing unders recently in the NBA. Throw the numbers outside. Just how do you see this game going down? And for the sake of this handicap, let's just assume that everybody's in there, right?
Yeah.
Let's assume Giannis plays. Let's assume Beal plays. And then, of course, right, we're letting people know to be careful because this news greatly affects the game. Like, for example, if Giannis is out, this line moves to what, 2.5?
Oh, yeah, for sure. This line definitely moves down that far. I'm going to change a little bit of the guys you said we're in because I don't think Beal's going to play, but I think those 3 probable guys on Milwaukee play.
All right. And you're actually pretty good at doing that, and that's you found some success in the props by guessing that and, you know, hitting Kuzma or Porzingis props early if they're up.
Yeah, I don't hate the Porzingis call here. I mean, he did have a nice game last game against them. This is one of those back-to-backs they played on New Year's Day, and the Wizards beat them by 23, so it was on Sunday when all the NFL games were going on, so nobody really paid it any mind.
I watched it.
Yeah, well, you got to think they want to bounce back against this team. They have all their guys back. Grayson Allen's in a nice spot looking in his matchups here. In his 4 games against the Wizards, he went for 19, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 4 steals, hit 3 threes. His other game, he went 10, 6 and 6, 2 threes, 21, 4 and 1, 5 threes, 13, 5 and 8, 3 threes. There's a performance double on him to hit 3 threes here, and Milwaukee win at plus 400. I think that's overpriced a bit. I'll be betting that. I like his over 1.5 threes at even money also because I think even him hitting 2 is possible here. Giannis is in a good spot, but his performance doubles are a little priced out. I'm looking to see if I can find us a halftime, full-time on the Bucks because I think they just run away with this one right off the bat.
Even in Washington, you think they get that bounce back, huh?
Yeah. Well, this game's in Milwaukee.
I'm sorry. I'm so stupid. Milwaukee's at the bottom of the screen. They're favored by 7.5. All right, wake up, spread. Wake up. Yeah, Milwaukee minus. Yeah, okay, at home. Yeah, you're right. I do think that they completely bounce back. We'll be talking about the tags off the air a little later, but let's just give them a little peek. I got Milwaukee winning by 9, 1.5 points. Is that enough for us to lay it with Milwaukee? You like the situational spot?
I think they smash them here.
I
think they put it on them.
You know what I noticed last night, and hey, I don't want to take too much of it. These larger spreads, they might, you know, we've been laying off them.
They cover a lot more often, yeah.
And we noticed that in the NFL too, because they just can't make the lines high enough. Now, to be fair, I had both those blowout games pretty close, right? Like I had Portland by 10 yesterday, and the line was 9.5. I had San Antonio winning by, I think, like 11 or 12. I mean, losing by 11 or 12.
What was that thing we always talked about? You said you heard it on the podcast. One of the guys.
It's the law of diminishing returns where they won't put the line
higher. It spits it out at, say, minus 20. It's like you can't list a minus 20.
They won't set a minus 20.
They knock it down to like 17.
Right. Whereas if it's between 5 and 10, they're just going to post whatever their line comes out to. So, all right, Travis, anything more on this game? Do you want to talk through some if-then scenarios, or you just want to wait for everything to happen?
Yeah, I just gotta kind of wait. Like it's hard to speculate. Even betting wise, like I always struggle to bet these games, and so it's like, okay, you feel like you bet one side and maybe you get an advantage, but then you feel like an idiot if it doesn't work out. And like then of course if you bet it and then like the news doesn't fall your way, you feel even dumber. It's never a fun scenario for me. So yeah, I know it's a 3-game slate. We're looking for bets. For me, I'm just struggling with it.
Yeah, I mean, so if you were to try and play the scenario, right? I guess you could say, hey, I'll take the Wizards plus 7.5. But I'll tell you what, even with Giannis out, that first game superstar subtraction, and they're at home, so those role players are going to play better. I don't even think it would be like a smash spot for the Wizards.
To be fair, they did do superstar subtraction last time, and it didn't work out. But
yeah, it doesn't always work. I mean, it's not 100%.
Slaughtered, but
yeah, I mean, and that's why it's a tough one to bet, right? Because a lot of times you get embarrassed, like it either works or you lose by 30.
I mean, the Bucks are probable. I think they play, and like if I bet a side, I would bet the Bucks side, just because I don't know. When you get embarrassed that one game, you come back with a little bit more heart and make sure to show up. So I don't know. I if I picked a side, it would be that, but I'm not. No chance I'm wagering on it.
It was New Year's Day when that game happened too. Who knows how many of them guys came into that game hungover?
Yeah.
Was that a night game too, spread, or was that an early day game? I mean, we've seen how wacky these early day games are. Would the Suns score 11 points in the first quarter yesterday?
Bro, I was pissed about that.
11 against the Knicks too.
It's just terrible.
Hey, I'm like, are they trying to make Devin Booker look like the MVP, right? Because it's like this team looks terrible without him. They look absolutely terrible. And Chris Paul, man, you're not supposed to be playing NBA basketball at age 38. Like at 38, you're supposed to be like with Stephon Marbury over in Shanghai, right? Or in Israel, or in Europe. Like
Spread, settle down with the Devin Booker MVP stuff, okay? Settle that down right
Okay,
now.
He's not the real MVP. Giannis is, but I'm just saying, if you want to make a case for him, you put up 11 points without him.
You might be on the wrong name again.
You still use the wrong name. It's still not Giannis.
Who are you giving it to, Luka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, We the People's going to love you guys because he's one of the worst defenders in the league, and you're going to give it over the best two-way player in the league who has close to the same numbers.
We're giving it to Luka. Just how it works. I don't know. Did LeBron win 10 straight MVPs? He didn't. It's Luka's time to win one. It just is. It's just how it works.
That's why MVP's stupid.
I mean, the guy that's won the back-to-back MVPs ain't the best defender either. So
I'm just telling you.
You got me there.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you how it works, right? Like when it comes to it just feels like, and you know why Jokic won last year? And again, Jokic is great. I love him. The metric. One reason Jokic won last year is because a lot of guys died towards the end of the year, right? Like that's part of it too.
Because he played 81 games or whatever he played.
Yeah, they didn't.
Everyone else played 60.
To be fair, I don't think they wanted to give it to him. I'm not saying that I wouldn't have. I would have gave it to him, but I don't think the voters wanted to do back-to-back Jokic. So, they're gonna try and fight to not give it to him a third time. I'm pretty sure. I feel
this year it's gonna be a lot easier to not give it to him.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many guys that
you got guys waiting in the wings too. If the main guy, if Luka goes down, Giannis goes down, they will catapult guys like Donovan Mitchell into the front of this race.
They're gonna try. Trust me, they do not want him to win 3 in a row. For sure. There's no.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't think he'd be. I know they don't have nose in those markets, but yeah, I think
it's the perfect year to give it to Luka. Even with how now you can make the case that the Mavs need to win more games and get towards the top of the leaderboard. I agree with that take. I think that's part of it, but
just a little kickback on that. Jokic was the 6th seed the last 2 years he won it. I don't think it works like how the NFL where the MVP has to be like a 1 or a 2 seed.
I do think you might have to be in that 1 through 6. If you're in the playing game, I don't know.
Oh yeah, if you're in the playing, you're in trouble. But
correct,
especially when 6 was only 2 games out of first too.
I think you need to be 1 through 6. I think you need to be in that because I'm not saying that's how the award should work. I'm just telling you that's how the award works. I just want to clarify because I know some people get up in arms about that, but it's just how the award works. It's for instance, let's just mix in some Russell Westbrook slander. The dude's not winning 6th man if they don't make the playoffs. You can't give a guy 6th man of the year and the team doesn't even make the play-in game. If that happens, I'm not saying it is, but if that happens, there's 0 chance Russell Westbrook.
The only reason you might be able to is there's not many candidates this year.
That's a fair point, but I still think they'd fight to find someone else.
You guys want to burn $10 on this theory?
Sure.
Yeah.
everyone, let's say Luka gets hurt, Tatum gets hurt, Giannis gets hurt. They don't want to give it to Jokic. Durant's kind of just there. Embiid's there. LeBron's sitting there at 370 to 1. He sneaks that 6 seed in. That's worth $10, I think.
So the fair point,
I can't argue with that.
Look at the stat lines he's putting up.
No, the fair point for LeBron is, so I think this is one thing that kind of kicks in too for people is they're like, it's like the fear of like, this is the last chance we can give this to him, right? Like this is the last, like there's no other
and it's
chance,
a great
right?
story too, right?
And the only way, if he gets to this into the race, the only way he doesn't win it is if what happened to Brady last year in the NFL is if he just has a stretch where it's just like he is just non-existent.
Yeah. That's why I felt like Rodgers kind of beat out Mahomes late. Was it last year? I forget. Time goes by fast, but
he beat Brady out last year. It was Mahomes the year before that. Yeah,
but whichever year it was, I did feel like Rodgers, because it was like the last chance to really give it to him or whatever. No, he beat out Mahomes. It wasn't Brady. It was definitely Mahomes he beat out.
Last year? I had the Brady ticket last year, and I lost it when he got held scoreless to the Saints.
Maybe it was 2 years ago then. I forget. Whenever Rodgers got it, I can't remember. But yeah.
All right. Well, if you had Russell Westbrook slander on your bingo card, go ahead and mark that off. Excellent way to work that. Travis.
Spread, let's go back
last night.
Spread, let's go off the board here for a second. Right. I want to address a chat question. So you don't think you can't be MVP if your team is decent? That's a whack take. Okay, so here's my question, Clyde. Can you name me an MVP that has won and their team is dog shit? Go. Got him? Like, just show me. We are not giving the takes of who we think is the MVP.
We're not setting the criteria. We're just letting you know how they vote.
The award based on the way the award works. That's how it works. It's just, we're being honest. It's how it goes. So can you please tell me any of them? Like, I could pull up all the MVPs. Let's see. MVPs, NBA history. Let's look them up and see if there's any that could be from bad basketball teams. I mean, we got Jokic, Giannis. Harden with the Rockets. I'm pretty sure they were good. I mean, OKC in 2017 was pretty good. The Warriors in 2016, 2015, they're very good. OKC with Kevin Durant in 2014 was good. LeBron. Derrick Rose, the year in 2011, I believe the Bulls were like a top 4 seed at least, right?
That was the year they lost in the second round of the Cavs.
Okay, LeBron really had bad teams? Not really. Well, in earlier years, but then you got Kobe, you got Dirk Nowitzki. Everyone gets on the Suns for Steve Nash having back-to-back MVPs. You know why he does? Because he played for a team that was at the top, right? He played for a team that was winning games, which the voters actually think matter. Like Kevin Durant won in 2004, or not Kevin Durant, Kevin Garnett. That's an interesting one. Let's see what the Timberwolves record was in 2004. That actually has me intrigued because
it was actually pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure it was because that's how the award works, Fred. Like they don't give it to a guy.
I'm trying to think. Was Marbury on the team that year? They were actually really good that year.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling up the record. Give me a second. I'll get it. This is the point. So I went all the way back to 2004. I ain't going further than this. This is the first one we found that I can like make a case for. But let's see. Let's see the record. I'm pulling it up now. Why is it not showing their record?
44-38.
44-38. What seed were they? Probably
9th. They missed the playoffs.
They missed the playoffs. Okay, that is the first example. They missed the playoffs at what was the record?
44-38. It says
that is the first example.
Third in the division. I got to figure out how this.
Are you sure? That's 44-38 and a 9 seed is pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm gonna find these conference standings from that year.
That was back when the West would win like every single game against the East.
So that's what 2004. I want to make sure you have the right year. Now I'm like even more interested because that is fascinating. But again, we found
2004 to 2005, right? Not 2000.
No, try 2003, 2004.
Okay, yeah. So that's maybe.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
That's what I'm thinking you're running into. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I could be. Yeah, dude,
no,
this year,
I don't think a 9 seed ever got it. I think
they were the 1 seed. They were 58-24.
Okay, yeah, there it is.
2004. Yeah. So again, this isn't an example. So like
he says Kobe in 07-08.
Okay, so let's look at Kobe in Kobe in 07-08. We'll look at him. Keep in mind too. Here's my favorite thing about those ones.
They were first.
Here's my favorite thing about those spread. I love when people be like, Kobe or Michael Jordan, right? Like the anomalies, you know what I mean? Like the absolute just anomalies. Now, LeBron is considered in the anomalies, I think, right? I give you credit for that.
Mangone, they were first, 57 and 25.
Yeah, they were 57 and 25.
And they lost in the finals.
Yeah, Clyde, get your facts straight. I mean, come on, do better research, man. Be better, Clyde. That's not how the award works. And I've done the research on my end. Now it's your turn to counter back with like research that's actually proper and show me one because they're not there.
Yeah, he's gonna have to go back to like 72 maybe or something, like an ABA MVP.
And then my point being is like you found one in like 40, 50, 60 years. Like, I mean, okay, so like that's how the award works. I'm just sorry. It's how it works. It's the truth.
The Boston Celtics are minus 8.5 in Oklahoma City, taking on the Thunder. Total of 233. Tyler, I have this game real close. So you're not going to be able to use my projections to find a winner here. We're going to really just have to go off and match up these teams. Even though their projections have it close, to me, it feels like the Thunder can keep this one close. It feels like the Thunder will be a lot more up for this game than the Celtics. I would argue, and Travis, you can address this when it's your time too, that teams are getting up for the Celtics like they were a championship team, the same way they get up for the Warriors, just because of their continued success and the fact that they do have the best record in the NBA. Tyler, I think we see a great effort from the Thunder tonight. I think they can keep it within the 8.5, but I don't see enough of an edge to bet. Do you think that I should I jump in on this, or am I right to lay off?
I'd lay off because I think when I see Boston with a big spread, it kind of worries me. I mean, weren't they in this same matchup recently? I know a couple guys were out that are not playing. And they were like minus 15. And we were like, we're going to lay off of this spot. And
wasn't that in Boston, though?
Yeah, but they won the game by 25. I understand now this one's on the road. It's OKC. So, like, yeah, their fans do come and they do shows love for that team. But Boston's still one of the best teams in the league. And I think it's a bad matchup, too, because he's a good perimeter defender, one of the better ones. But Tatum and Brown are both a lot taller than him. They can shoot right over him. They don't really have guys that can defend them. I see Robert Williams is likely going to sit here, and that's the only guy out for Boston. I think they could beat them by double digits here. If I had to pick a side, I'm taking Boston.
All right. So I was leaning the Thunder. You like Boston. I'm fine staying away from this game. I got a slight edge to the under, but we know how much we hate playing unders in the NBA lately. Travis, your thoughts? I mean, start with this. Like, teams are getting up to play these Celtics, right? I feel like you're getting the best effort from these teams.
No, I agree. Teams are playing up for them, but listen, OKC's played great this year, right? But like the Celtics are a different animal, right? And they can go out and like beat these other teams, but the Memphis Grizzlies are cute and all. They could beat Memphis, but like, are they beating the Celtics? I don't think so. I think the Celtics are going to really get the job done here. I would lay the points. I just give it to them. I don't need to. I'm perfectly fine with taking the Celtics here instead. This team again, this team is going to struggle. I think you're going to have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dealing with the defensive player of the year, right? And Marcus Smart, just all over him all game. You are going to have Lou Dort out there, maybe trying to do his best on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But like at the end of the day, like Jason Tatum, he's one of those guys that is a superstar and he's an anomaly. And you could make the case for SGA being an anomaly type player, right? Like the guy that he's matchup proof. It doesn't matter who he's going against. So that's a fair counter if you want to argue that. But at the end of the day, I think the Celtics get the job done here. I don't believe in these Thunder bench players that keep grinding out decent minutes for these guys. Also, the Thunder, they are always happy to just like tinker with minutes and just do stupid stuff, like give Josh Giddey 20 minutes. And in the end, that's not going to be good for them to play Josh Giddey less minutes. So overall, my take is Celtics win this game. DFS-wise, this is a game I don't think as many people are going to get to on the Celtics side, because if you look at the price tags, and I'm pulling them up now real quick, it seems like a tough spot to really like load up on them, right? I mean, Marcus Smart is at 6K. Brogdon's at 4.8. White's at 4.7. You could make cases for them if we're dying for values. 9.3 Jaylen Brown, 10.7 Jason Tatum. Are those the studs that get jammed on teams? Probably not, but are they studs that can get there? Absolutely. I do think Jason Tatum at 10.7 is someone that you could make as a contrarian spend. There's another, I don't know if it's contrarian, but there's a guy later that we're going to talk about that I'd rather spend for here on this slate. It just depends on what the ownership is going to end up being. You could make a case if Robert Williams missed, it could help out Horford, and is an Al Horford revenge game spread. So you got to like that, of course, but
Wait. What is he getting revenge for? Getting paid to chill at home?
I'm just saying he did spend his time there. That's all. You know what I mean? He spent his time there. It qualifies. It technically qualifies. I'm not saying I believe it, but I like to bring up the all revenge games here and there. So, I know Grant Williams is 3-5.
We need to start grading these revenges.
I agree. Yeah, there's some that actually matter and some that don't. But this was one.
So this is like we'll do this off the air, but like we need to have like tier 1, tier 2, and then we can do like tier 3 revenge where the team.
This is tier 0.5.
Yeah,
like Tyrese Halliburton playing the Kings. That's like a tier 3 revenge, right? Like he feels so betrayed by the Kings. They told him like 2 days beforehand, like, "Oh, we're not trading you."
Who do you think feels more betrayed, Tyrese Halliburton or Buddy Hield?
Buddy Hield wanted to go. He was in trade rumors for like 4 years.
True, but Buddy Hield hates the Kings. Did you see that video that surfaced recently?
Yeah,
he hates the Kings.
Who hates him more, Halliburton or Buddy?
Speaking of Buddy Hield, I know you've seen it, man. Going the fastest 3-pointer ever in an NBA game. Right off the tip-off, they tipped it to him, and he just turned around and let it fly.
I didn't see it. I missed it.
Did he hit it?
He made it like not even 5 seconds into the game. Like the little scoreboard on the bottom of the screen was just populating, and the ball's already in the air going at the hoop.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
No, I didn't see that one.
I'll have to send it to you guys.
Yeah, if you see it, send it for sure. But we should talk more about the OKC side. I'm very curious to see what happens because man, these 3-game slates, right? Like OKC guys just get pounded on teams because they're cheap, right? Like you'll see Jalen Williams is starting at the center at 3-3, and you're like, well, I need value, right? I want to play some studs. So how do I do it? This is how. So like starting lineups are going to matter. Could be Jalen Williams. It could be Mike Muscala, whichever one starts. I think people are going to be interested in. It could be Baisley. I think people might be interested in that too. So that's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. I'm going to temper my expectations with the Thunder, right? Let's say most lineups are playing like 3 Thunder. I'm going to chill out and maybe play 1 or 2 or just, and like either way, however many Thunder are being pushed on optimals, my thought process is I'd rather be underweight than overweight. That's my take on it. Don't know which guys are going to be being pounded on the optimizers. It's too early. It's 12:35, but that's definitely how I'm taking the stance. I assume because we don't have as much value, you are going to see these guys be pounded on them, especially if one of these guys is going to start, right? We don't know which guy will. We could speculate whoever it's going to be, but my point is, if you look at OKC, who will start at the center position? If it's Mike Muscala, he's 3.6. If it's Jalen Williams, he's 3.3. If it's Baisley, he's 3K. If it's Eugene Amori, he's 3K. Those are the only big men that they have that could start at the center position. So my point is, whichever guy is the starter instantly will gain 20% ownership or more. It could even get higher. Depends when the news hits. So they are going to be guys that people are going to be getting on their teams because we're going to need value today. So that's kind of my take on that. Lou Dort is 5-1, and Lou Dort, he's not the worst play, but there definitely is. If he's going to gain ownership, he's a guy I might stay away from a little bit. If for some reason Aaron Wiggins starts, I would have interest in him just because Aaron Wiggins, like whenever he starts, he absolutely smashes, it feels like. And they have Giddey's at 6'7", which feels like a nice price tag, but like you never know with Josh Giddey. It can be a frustrating roster at times. And also, I wouldn't be completely shocked, Spread, if the Celtics destroyed the Thunder and you just saw the rotations and the minutes. You saw one of those nights where everyone plays 22 minutes, right? It's just all evenly spread out. And if that's the case, do I want to spend my salary on a lot of these OKC guys? I'm just not that sure. So definitely a game I think I'm going to be more underweight on. And I think this next game is going to be the game I like the most, and we'll get to it now.
All right. Tyler, anything?
Yeah, before you go into that, you said you didn't like the Boston side, but do you think they win this game? You just don't want to lay 9?
Exactly. I think the Thunder keep it close. I think you
I found the perfect bet for you then. You could do the win margin. Celtics from 1 to 10 points win, plus 175. You get 9 points right there where you think they could win it by. And the only way you lose is if they cover.
That's pretty awesome because I'm getting 85 cents.
Yeah.
For them to cover.
Yep.
And I guess, I lose if the Thunder win outright, but let's see, minus 371 on the money line. I'm just doing this in my head, but that's like what, 20% win probability out. So it's like 80, I'm getting 85 cents for the 20% there. And then what would you say the blowout percentage is? Another 20?
I'd say it's somewhere around there.
So 40% plus one. I think that's the best. I think that's a better way to approach it. Even if you like the Thunder, I think that's a better way to approach it. Yeah, a good find there, Tyler. All right. Any more props for this game, Tyler?
No, I was looking through the performance doubles. The only one maybe I'd take a shot on would be Tatum's double and win at plus 175. And then, I mean, maybe just take this instead of doing the double and win, just do the 10 plus rebounds and win because it's plus 185. He's not getting 10 assists, I don't think.
For both of you guys, with Lou Dort being out there and being by far a better defender than anyone else on the floor, thinking that he will get the Tatum assignment, does that make Jaylen Brown more attractive from props and on DFS perspective? What do you think, Travis?
No, because if that was Luka, would you care?
Good point. All right.
Like it's just like Tatum's and he's a top 5.
You think Dort's going to cover Tatum too?
I think
he's Dort's like 6'3". Tatum's like
I wouldn't be shocked if he took the Jaylen Brown assignment and they just said like Tatum can get his bucket, like he's gonna get his buckets anyway. So like let's take away Brown more so. That wouldn't shock me.
That'd be interesting.
Our guy Joey's in the chat. What's up, Joey?
Joey Work, my guy. What's up, man?
Joey Work in the chat. Congrats to his Giants for making the playoffs. So I'm sure he's hyped about that.
I know. I'll have to DM you, Joey. We need to have Joey come on talking.
Yeah, definitely need him on for the.
He needs a Giants breakdown. He needs a victory lap because Joey had to suffer through the beginning of the season when we picked the Giants to lose every game. We were going through the schedule. Yeah, but and he told us we were wrong. And he gets that victory.
By the way, I want to give a little bit of a Dolphins take for a second. Like, I mean, what am I supposed to do when my lineman's always hurt and I lose my quarterback every week? Like, it's just a disaster. So, like,
Kyle Shanahan pulls it off.
I mean, yeah, but Kyle Shanahan he is his lineman. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
he has what's his name? I'm blanking on his name for some
reason. Trent Williams.
I was gonna call him like Terrence Davis for some reason, but that's probably because I have the Kings on my mind. So
Terrence Davis. Okay.
Well, yeah, yeah.
We're all over the place here today. It's a classic Tuesday show.
Yeah, one thing I did want to call out DFS wise that I didn't get to. I could have talked about it, but I probably should have mentioned it. Was Daniel Gafford at 4-3? He's been playing great, and like they've been using him more, so I should call him out as like a pretty interesting value play. And Denny Avdia, he could be another interesting option. That if I am going to sleep on some of these Thunder options, right? I'm going to say I need to try and go other routes or look for other ways to go. I do think Washington could have some value that you might want to take some chances on. Like Denny's price is pretty good. Even if he's off the bench, I think you could chance it too. Rui, we talked about Gafford. Like they have enough value plays where I think those guys could pop more than I was thinking. So you just want to mention those guys. And then this next game will definitely be an interesting one. I'm very much excited to talk about this, and I'm sure spread is as well.
Yeah, let's talk about the Beam team. Real excited to see them play. Of course, they squeaked out the win over Utah last Friday night, 126 to 125, if I remember correctly. Kevin Huerter hit the three-pointer to seal the win. It was a hard-fought, close game. Utah's been struggling lately. I'm actually start with you, Tyler, because we're going to talk about this a little bit after the show when we put the RPB tags up. I have Utah by 5 here, right, which shows me a slight edge to the Jazz. Here's my concern, though. I don't, and I've talked about this before, not adjusting weights just for specific things. I just do it in my head. But I would say that Utah is being overvalued by my projections due to the fact that they started off so good, right, and then recently they've fallen off. So even though my projections have Utah as a really good team, watching this team over the last 2 weeks, watching them fall from first place to 10th place in the standings, watching them basically become the team that we expected in the preseason where we're writing this team in as a potential lottery team, I'm thinking that I might have overvalued the Jazz. At the same time, this is the Kings on the road. They've never been a good road team. They've never really proved that they're a good team, right? I mean, we could talk about small sample size when we're dealing with the Kings' success as well. Tyler, what are your thoughts? Am I overvaluing the Jazz? How do you approach this one?
Yeah, I mean, as from a side, I think I'm going to stay off at spread. Looking at the projections, I mean, I know it's going to be a hold your nose play, but I think we're going under here. I mean, you're coming in.
Yeah, I saw the under.
Points short, so yeah. I think it's an underplay. Would you say they finished 126, 125 last game?
Yeah.
And did they get into overtime or no?
No, he hit that. It was the end.
Okay, so it was the late barrage of threes that got him back into it, kept the game close. I don't think you see that here. I see why Terrence Davis is now on Travis's mind looking at this injury report, because Herter questionable, his backup Monk's questionable. It could be Terrence Davis night. So interested to see where he's on that side. And it looks like the only guy on the Utah side is Colin Sexton. So, I mean, I don't hate the Sacramento call here with Utah falling back, but I'm going to stay off the side. They're 0-6 in their last 6 trips to Utah. It's always a tough place to play, and I don't want to lay it with Utah either, so I'm just going to be on the under here.
Just generally, do you think that my projections are overvaluing Utah? Because that's something that I was kind of throwing around this morning when I was.
I'd say a little bit, but I mean, they're still a decent. I'm not going to say they're a bad team. Like, they got guys that are going to fight, so they're going to play good games. They're going to win games still.
Yeah, one reason they're going to win games, I think a lot of people mistaken Utah for like OKC in the past, and they're not. This OKC team is not what it used to be, but these teams that are just like young 19 years old, like 19-year-olds and 22-year-olds, like you guys understand. I'm not saying you, but just anyone watching that thinks Utah's a joke. These are men, right? Like, these aren't like just absolute like clown 19-year-olds trying to find their way around the league, right? Like, Lauri Markkanen is a real player, right? And he's obviously clearly, played a lot better now he's gotten usage. And he played well in Chicago when he did kind of get the opportunity, which he didn't get the opportunity to as much. Jordan Clarkson, I mean, that dude's a man, right? It's not like a 19-year-old out there. He was a 19-year-old on a clown show team when the Lakers were that, right? He was that team before. Mike Conley, I mean, he's someone that's, a vet. Kelly Olynyk, he's played in a ton of playoff games. He's a man. He's not a boy. That's part of the reason why these are winning games. It's just a fact. It's like, it goes back to that example of Big T talking about grabbing like, a bunch of like 30-year-old dudes that don't play like professionally at all and are just like dudes at like the Y playing against like, kids that are just like, really good basketball players. It's like, I'll take the men over them because they're just men. It's just simple. So
do you remember Mike Gundy saying that? Are you guys too old for that one?
Yeah, I'm a man. I'm 40.
I'm 40.
Yeah. Don't come with the kids. I'm a man. Come at me. I'm 40. It's a good one.
All right. So what do you think? Do we stack this game here? I mean, total's 9 points higher than the next highest total, and we got a lot of great options. Like, how do we approach this one?
Yeah. So I think the way to approach this game is, for one, like, how do you not like Sabonis here, right? Like, let's just talk about Sabonis and the spot he gets. He gets to go up against Utah. I mean, last game out, yeah, he played 37 minutes, shot 12 for 12, but he had 8 assists, 11 rebounds, and yeah, sure, he shot 12 for 12. Like, I do think there's more shots that are there. Utah is a matchup that we have targeted throughout the season, right? I do think it's a good spot to play Sabonis. I think he's a really good spend up today. People might look at the last game and say, oh, there could be some regression or he could have done better. I still think there's a huge ceiling there for Sabonis, so I'm interested in him here on this slate. Could you make the argument that like these other options like Rashawn Holmes, who's now back, and some of these other bigs could cut into him? Maybe, but I don't think that's the case. I'm perfectly fine with just loading up on Sabonis. The minutes are good. Like him a lot. Harrison Barnes at 4.9. It's uncomfortable like to be touting up Harrison Barnes, but dude is 4.9 and feels pretty safe. And if you have Herter and Monk missed, there's going to be more shot attempts to go around, I think, for Harrison Barnes. So I like him a little bit here in this spot. I believe he'll get the assignment on Lauri Markkanen most of the time. And you're going to need him on the floor because Lauri's going to be out there chucking a ton. So I think Harrison Barnes is a good play. Obviously, Terrence Davis would be great if Kevin Herter is going to be out. And I don't know, Spread, has he earned the name Kayvon Herter again? I mean, the dude's been shooting lights out.
Bro, he's 46% from the field, 39% from three. That trade's been fantastic. I'll tell you what, I wasn't necessarily down on it. Just when you're the Kings, I worry about getting picks away. But it just shows how these guys, they take 3 or 4 years to get ready. So
he also wasn't getting usage in where he was playing, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, who wants to play with Trey?
Yeah, he was playing next to Trey. I'll say this. I've been a big Kayvon Herter fan because when COVID happened, I had everyone was home spread and no one was leaving their house. So right. I was playing an NBA 2K franchise. Every day I was playing 5 games again or 6 games. And we basically would simulate in 1 week. We'd simulate an entire thing. And Kayvon Herter was my second best player. The dude in 2K was just lights out, made every shot. So dude has a soft spot in my heart always. And he's won me some money here and there. So I think he could be a great contrarian tournament play because let's say he's got the Q tag all day spread. Who is clicking on him in their lineups? Are you clicking on him while you build your teams? No, you're not.
No.
The dude's a lights out shooter. Are you worried about playing in Utah? Maybe some tired legs? Yeah, you could make the case about that. But I think these guys that sit with these questionable tags that are, if they didn't have a questionable tag all day, would we be considering a little bit? Sure. I don't think he'd be bad. And on the flip side, same thing for Malik Monk. And if one of these guys misses, wouldn't you think one of them benefits? Like if you had Monk out and then Herter in, or on the flip side, Herter out and Monk in, what is your thoughts on playing one of them? You would load the boat on him, right? If it was news that was already happening at this hour and you knew it all day long, you would be all over him as a value. And you might not get that news in time where he might become a really great value play later on that people don't pivot on. So I think either Monk or Herter could be a great place. If both of them miss, who's this open the door for? It does open the door for Davion Mitchell, but you got to watch. Sometimes Mike Brown sneaks Matthew Dellavedova in there for way too many minutes. But I think Davion Mitchell will be an interesting play at 3-3 because of what he can do for your full lineup. The dude is not 4-5 or 4-7. He's 3-3. And at 3-3, he can maybe get you another upgrade in your lineups that's interesting. Same with Terrence Davis at 3K. Terrence Davis chucks the ball too. So he would be someone that I'd be interested in. And overall, you just really can't ignore this Sacramento side. This news is going to be important. It's going to be something that I key in on, and I think they're pretty interesting plays. And then you can make the argument that, let's say you don't get the news to fall your way correctly. Are there guys in this game that you can make pivots to? Certainly. If you don't get Malik Monk, could you play Malik Beasley? Yeah, Malik Beasley's willing to chuck the ball. It's a fast-paced, up-tempo game against the Kings. This is kind of the game environment that Malik Beasley thrives in. So at 4-6, I think he's pretty interesting in tournaments. You get him at guard and forward eligibility. Jared Vanderbilt is just too much of an up and down player for me that I won't be too excited to go there. He's just a tough roster for me. Caleb Olynyk at 5'2". I definitely don't hate him. I know he's got a ceiling and he's got that power forward and center eligibility, so that's nice. Mike Conley will naturally pop in projections because he's 5.3K. The thing you have to debate is, do you actually think he has that much of a ceiling? The good news is it's only a 3-game slate, and at 5'3", he could just be a fine last guy in, but don't expect him to be like one of your ceiling players. I think you want to make sure you have other ceiling plays around it, but I think he could join the conversation. Clarkson is 7K. I don't think I will get there as much. If he was the last guy in, maybe. And then Lauri Markkanen, we'll mention him. He's 8'8", and that price is getting up there. But in this matchup, if you think the game goes back and forth, and let's say you fade like a lot of like the higher salary guys in this like early game, could you start your lineups with Markkanen and Sabonis? I think you could do it, but Markkanen's not someone I'm trying my best to get to. It's like one of those things where I won't X him from my pool. I'll run my optimizer. And when I look at my teams, if I happen to find a team with Lauri, maybe I'll take a chance on it, but not someone I'm prioritizing. If I prioritize any stud on this slate right now, spread, at this hour, it's Sabonis. That's the guy that I want to get into my lineups. I think he's a really great play. You can make a case for De'Aaron Fox too, but 9K is a little pricey for my liking. But I really like Sabonis, and I like these like value plays on the Kings that I can mix and match. And I think Utah's got enough value too that we can work with as well.
I agree with you on Sabonis. If I'm going to spend up, I like his matchup a lot more than Fox going against Conley. Conley's a veteran defender, and he's not going to just seed the soft switches and give Fox the matchup he wants. He's going to fight through those. There might be some double teams there, but who's going to stop Sabonis, man? Like, that's always been an issue with Markkanen, man, right? And he'll get that rookie. You know, I like Walker Kessler, right? I'm Team Walker over here.
Yeah,
but he'll get him in foul trouble real easily. So,
oh, for sure. You could make is Walker Kessler going to start? He probably won't start, right?
I don't think he will. He's been coming off the bench. He's been averaging 20 minutes per game.
But off the bench could not be a bad role for him for this game.
I think it's great. His blocks per minute is like right up there with the best rim protectors in the league. It's just they're only giving him 20 minutes. Number one, to not go against the best centers in the league and get foul trouble right off the bat. And hey, right? I mean, there's a difference between NBA starters and NBA backups, right? Maybe it's better to ease these guys in there. So I like what that coach is doing. He's doing a great job over there in Utah. So
what they're doing with him is right, and he's not someone I'd want to pay a lot of money to. Like he's the perfect center to be like, hey, based on it's kind of like what the Mavs did, right? Dwight Powell or Maxi Kleber, right? Like he's that perfect guy to just be like, hey, you're our big man when we need you for those spots, but we also need a shooter too that can be on the outside. That's like way better because Walker Kessler, and not just that, like you can destroy him in a pick and roll, right? Like absolutely kill him. That's like actually his biggest problem for sure. but he could be like, I guess what I'm getting at with like why I like the Sacramento Utah game the most is it's a very fast paced game. Utah being home, I think that helps them because like the Kings were home. I think they could blow them out possibly. So I think that helps make the game a little bit more competitive. And I just think there's enough like create your own value plays, right? Like not guys that stick out as like, oh, we're definitely playing them as values. But I think there's just enough guys that like have like ceilings at their like 5K price tag or 4K in these range that I would just take chances on. So I need the injury news. That's going to be super important. And of course, the news could fall right where maybe I get Terrence Davis and I get Terrence Davis and who's the other one I thought? Terrence Davis and Davion Mitchell. Maybe I get those guys as values. And if I do, maybe I grab Lauri Markkanen, right? Like because I've gained values, I can go up and grab Lauri and grab Sabonis, or if I have a guard spot, I'll grab Fox and Sabonis. Like both those guys can certainly get there together, especially on a 3-game slate. So this is definitely my favorite game tonight.
All right. So I can't wait to stack this one up. It should be a lot of fun. Tyler, any more thoughts on this game? Walker Kessler's tight. I like that you changed your name though. That's fantastic. Robert's had a new name for about a year now. I always got to bring that up. Tyler, any more thoughts on the Jazz and the Kings here?
Yeah, just one prop I was looking at. They have Markkanen's point set at 25.5. He's went for 29, 36, 29, 32, 21, and 38. I think that number is a little low. It's going to be a high-paced game. He's going to shoot a ton of threes. He's going to shoot a ton of shots in general. I like the over there. What do you guys think?
For which one?
Markkanen over 25.5 points.
Yeah, I like that. The problem with him DFS-wise at his price is like he's just so points dependent and doesn't get peripherals, right? So I would definitely bet the points because I wouldn't want to bet on his peripherals. And he could easily score like 30 real-life points. Like the Kings could kill him too, right? He could go that way. So yeah, I actually think the Lauri call is not bad.
All right, Lauri and Markkanen. All right, pretty good timing here, Travis. I think we did pretty well today. Are you ready for the best bets?
Yep, I'm ready to go when you are.
All right, let's start with you, Travis. You've been doing well coming on the show. Of course, you're giving out the DFS winners, but I love that you're, jumping over here, giving out some bets winners as well, and the people appreciate it. What winner do you have for us today?
Well, I've done good with the parlays. I don't know if there's enough games for me to pull up a parlay here. I feel like I know the last one I did get the Nuggets wrong, but let's see which one could I like the Celtics. I'm trying to see if there's another. I don't know if that parlay would be good. Let's because I don't want to do that. Let's just go with the Celtics -9. I like this spot a lot for them. I think they take care of the Thunder. I'm not really that worried about OKC here. And I wouldn't be shocked if OKC kind of gets blown out and you just see those minutes be really spread thin between them. So let's go with the Celtics -9 spread.
All right. You hear that, Tyler? He took the Celtics. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with two props. I'm going to take the Grayson Allen over 1.5 threes at even money. I'm going to take that Markkanen one we just talked about over 25.5 points. And then I'm also going to play that Grayson Allen performance double 3+ threes, and the Bucks beat the Wizards at +430.
All right. And we talked about it earlier, Travis, but call me Mike Gundy because I'm a man. And I'm going to take one of the toughest bets on the board. I'm going to take the under in the Kings versus the Utah Jazz, total of 242. These unders have been rough lately, but it's just got to the point where the books are having to put these lines so high. Now, I don't follow the money splits because, first of all, I don't even trust them. Like, what incentive do they have to really tell us what they have? Like, I mean, I guess I believe Dave Mason from Bet Online. He seemed like a pretty stand-up guy, and they're running a real good operation over there. But a lot of these splits, I don't. But I can't imagine a lot of people are betting unders right now. So I think these totals are getting juiced a little high. We've been loving the over trend, right, in December, Tyler. But we have to understand the market. I was talking last night, and I was saying there's a difference between actually understanding basketball and understanding how to wager on basketball. And the idea is that it's reading the market and not understanding how to beat a double team trap, right? Or whether or not you should play drop or on the level against this team, or who you should be running the offense. And so I do think that we have a great understanding of the market. And it's my theory right now that these unders are probably going to be profitable in January because the books actually got housed on these overs last month, and they're not going to let that stand for long. So I'm taking a stand here. It's going to be tough, but I'm taking the under. and the Sacramento Kings versus Utah Jazz. Travis, one of my favorite shows of the week. I have to say one of, because Uncle T will get mad. But one of my favorite shows of the week, always having you on. We appreciate it. You have 2 minutes. Let us know all the great content Run Pure is producing this week and where they can find more of your work.
Yeah, I'll be doing my single entry 3 max content. I will not be on the NBA show tomorrow. I will be on the Friday show. I'm switching with Hoop and Spread. You get to see me and Randone talk on a show. So, be sure to check out the Friday.
Bro, did you see the guns yesterday?
That one should be fiery on Friday.
Bro, that dude's jacked, man. I was like intimidated just on my YouTube screen. That dude is jacked.
Randone put that camera there. I mean, come on. I mean, he looks
bro,
great.
But if I did that, my arms aren't looking like that.
If I looked that great, I'd be like, yeah, check it out.
I know, I would too. I mean, wow.
Like I would totally put the camera like that if I looked that great. But that'll be fun with him on Friday. Hopefully, I can actually clarify everything that's been misconstrued by Big T, because he loves big. Listen, if there's someone who loves to stir the pot, there's 2 guys that stir it more than anyone. It's Big T and Uncle T. They love to stir that pot up. And speaking of one of my favorite shows, one of my favorite shows is coming back, and it's with Uncle T. And it's the Golf Bet Show. That'll be Wednesday nights on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. I think we've moved some stuff around where the golf show that like Big T and Hoop and Tambo are going to be doing, that's going to be like, I think at like 3:30 normally on Wednesdays. And then we're going to be the nightcap. We'll be talking bets, so you can get all those bets. We'll talk a little bit DFS as well in the golf street. So be sure to check all that out. It should be a fun time. Golf is back. So, and I'll be around on a bunch of other stuff spread. So, and I'll be with you tomorrow too, talking some football.
Yeah, I can't wait to do that. And of course, we always have a great time. Tyler, great seeing you once again. We're going to put up those tags for everyone. Of course, if you want to see everything that we're betting, you head on over to runpuresports.com. You go over to the NBA playbook. I do the projections, the tags, and then, of course, Tyler adds the winning props. And we love those huge long shot performance doubles. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. I haven't asked yet today. Hoop would be pissed. But guys, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Run Pure.